Hey everybody, and welcome to my N5 series on the SP404 Mark II, where I cover a topic in about 5 minutes. This is session 39.8, and today I just want to go over, I don't know, kind of conclusions or thoughts on this. One thing I want to point out is I had, maybe somebody will pick this up on the comments, but I had been trying to make this, I think bass, lead, or drums, like a lead, bass. This was, yeah, like a chord or something. Anyway, fun thing. This has drums and bass, which explains why I was getting some weird noise. I ended up going back and just re-recording just the bass. So that sounds better, I think, when we're trying to go play patterns and stuff like this. Instead of having the drums doubled up and then the bass is competing. It also makes it easier to go back and mix content here. I will say, I do think that by and large, the BPM sync is working correctly. So I think as long as you're making sure you're actually getting the content at the beep, recording it in at the BPM that you want and making clean loops, I think you'll be fine trying to get it to work. Mistakes though is if you saw like when I did one of these, it might have been this one for pad number 2, maybe it was pad number 4, I don't remember. But if you end up with an extra note at the end, it's going to cause it to sound like it's in sync at the beginning and it's going to float out of sync as it gets to the end. And that's just because it's trying to add that extra sample content in, and the inaccuracy over that period of time is going to increase. So it really is important to make sure that your loops are set up and, start, end, and loop points are set correctly. I would always say, make sure you go back and check all of your start, end, and if you're using looping, check your loop. Make sure your start and end is correct all the time. I personally think using looping's probably fair to use with BPM sync, especially if you're making sure that everything is playing correctly together. I'd have to go run this and just let some chopped up loops play for a long period of time to see how long it stays in sync. Not terribly interested in doing that at this time, but it could be a fun experiment to do. It seems like resampling does work correctly, but just make sure that when you go into resample that you're setting the BPM to whatever it is, if it's necessary for the effect to be like if you're using a delay or something that needs to be in time with the rest of the content, just make sure you're doing that. And don't forget that you get your start and end snap. Really easy feature to forget, but this allows you to snap to the nearest bar or part of the measure when you hit the record button to end. So as long as you just let it play a tiny bit beyond where it's kind of looping over, you hit it, it'll take that sample content and just pull it back to the previous note, which I think is a really good feature. It should help people do a lot of this resampling much faster. Beyond that, I do think resampling is a really good way to take and kind of abuse some of your notes, sounds, and other things that you're doing. Use effects, do other things to layer sounds together and create a complete piece. And personally, I would really suggest using the pattern mode to take and play those loops back. So just so you always have that consistent start point, but it isn't necessary. As I said, I do think so, like if you wanted to, you should be able to take and kind of play these things forever. And, add in, well, maybe that's not the best one to add in, but you get the idea. I mean, you should be able to kind of take these things and build them up. It's just going to be based on how good your timing is. When I really get in the zone, I can have pretty good timing. When I'm trying to do a video like this and show things off, sometimes I'm thinking about what I'm trying to say and other stuff at the same time, and it won't sound very good. So that's why I would say, if you're not as confident, don't hesitate to lean on pattern mode to build up and program some of these things, because you can then have transitions. Don't forget that you still have shift and reverse so that to get into your pad mutes, you can go in and mute these things as they're playing, or if you don't want them to be playing when you transition into the next part of a song. So there's a lot of really good, powerful stuff here that you can do pretty easily, pretty quickly. And I think this is a completely valid way to go make music. So anyway, I hope you guys learned something here. I just thought it would be useful to do this as another session to kind of build on what I was doing before, just taking some loops and messing with them and seeing how they worked. I thought maybe it'd be interesting to kind of take to the next level and kind of look at, how does this work as you're just pulling in random different BPMs and matching them to a consistent place or consistent BPM, doing some resampling and other things. So hope this helps, but everybody keep making music, keep having fun. If you do anything fun, you want to share in the comments, knock yourself out, I'd be happy to listen to it. And peace.